Shalom, shalom, call haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Chak Wadash and Shani Kabad Gadawala required to Kwanyam Nawa Washalayakim Nawa, and that's double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom Wabarakim Abakoyim Shalayash Sharala, and that is peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. So I want to jump right into this video because I don't want it to be too drawn out. I know sometimes when it comes to prophecy concerning World War III and how that stage is being set up can sometimes be a complicated thing for some brothers, and I want to make it as this video as streamlined and as simple as possible through the Spirit. I was just watching the World War III algorithm video that was being done, or it was being made on the GMS Dallas and Class 3 channel. And with that being said, I just wanted to also bring about these few articles that I found through the Spirit concerning World War III, because ultimately what's going over there in Venezuela is not going to cause World War III. Now, don't get it twisted. It's definitely still relevant in terms of prophecy. However, World War III isn't going to be started because of what's happening down there. The stage is being set. Sides are being picked. Sides are being chosen right now. That's mainly what's relevant in terms of what's going over there in Venezuela as it relates to World War III. Now, I want to go into these articles right here and then obviously bring it back home to the scriptures so we can truly get an understanding of, not truly, but so we can get, just more edification in terms of how World War III is being manifested. So this article just came out. It's on express.co.uk. And it was written just today, May 1st, 2019. Yep, May 1st, 2019. It says, Iran warning. Trump, and when it says Trump, it's referring to, or Iran is referring to America. So Trump doomed to failure and is being lured, that's the key word, and is being lured into conflict by who? By Israel. Now, I could stop right here and go straight to a few different scriptures, but I want to read maybe the first paragraph. Yep. So this subtitle says, Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, alleged on Sunday that Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the UAE, which he dubbed the B team, intend to push Donald Trump, meaning America, into a confrontation with who? With Iran. I'm actually going to stop right there and go right to the scriptures, because this is prophecy at its finest, and you can't say that the Bible isn't real if you just take some time to listen and to truly pray that the Lord opens up your spiritual eyes and ears, and that he gives you the understanding of prophecy. Then you can see how what's happening in the world right now is all being controlled by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And then we can see that in the scriptures, all of it has already been played out through the Spirit, because it was already foretold to happen before the foundation of the world ever was even created. So once again, it says before we read the scriptures, Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, alleged on Sunday that Saudi Arabia and Israel and the UAE, which he dubbed the B team, intend to push Donald Trump, meaning America, into a confrontation with Iran. That's why Iran said Trump is doomed to failure and is being lured into conflict by Israel, meaning lured into conflict by Israel with them, with Iran. Now check this out. We're going to go right to the scriptures. So this is Jeremiah 49, verse 20. It says, Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Edom, the Edomites, who are the self-proclaimed white people today. Self-proclaimed white people, their true nationality, their biblical nationality, which is their true nationality, are the Edomites. It says, and his purposes, that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. All right, one of the descendants of Esau, one of the sons or dukes of Esau. It says, surely the least of the flock referring to the Edomites. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And when it says draw them out, it's referring to America. Because remember, all these nations, according to the book of Revelation, are going to team up literally and shoot missiles off on America. They're going to ultimately team up against America. So it says the least of the flock shall draw them, meaning America, out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Now when it says, and this is the point, when it says that he hath purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock, that least of the flock, and we're going to get into it in Hebrew, is referring to the top tribe of the Edomites, which is Amalek. And we know that because the scriptures ultimately say what? It says, women rule over us and children are our oppressors. Now, who's oppressing us? The Edomites. The Edomites are oppressing us, and their top tribe is the one that's ruling right now. And where's that top tribe? They're over there in the land, Salakia. They're over there in the land of Israel right now. And they were put into that land when the Balfour Declaration, I believe, which was in 1949, was signed and took place. Now, when you go into the Hebrew and you you look up that word least of the flock, it says surely the least of the flock, and a flock is just referring to right here a multitude of people. The word for least is taza'ayan, and it says little, insignificant, or young. Now that's why, remember, it says women rule over us and children are our oppressors, because truly in the spirit, Jacob got the blessing, which means that he's the older. Jacob's name was later changed to who? Or changed to what? To Israel. And we, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, are the descendants of Jacob. We are the true biblical Israelites. So in the spirit, we do have that blessing, or we do have the blessing, and in the spirit, we're older than Esau. So he is the younger. He is the child. And their top tribe is the one that's ruling right now, Amalek, the top tribe of the nation of the Edomites. Now we're going to read it again. Jeremiah 49 verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, talking about the top tribe of the Edomites, shall draw them out, meaning shall draw America to war. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Now we're going to be very repetitive. We're going to jump back here. It says, Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, alleged on Sunday that Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the UAE, which he dubbed the B team, intend to push Donald Trump into a confrontation with Iran. Now, why is this going to cause World War III? Israel ultimately causing Trump or America to be in some kind of confrontation with Iran. Because when you jump over here, now that we have understanding of Jeremiah 49 verse 20, when you jump right over here, Ezekiel 38, we're going to read verses 1, and the point is at verse 7. Check this out. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. Against Gog in the land of Magog, when you actually look at an ancient map and you see that the people that are inhabiting the land of Gog and Magog are the Russians today. So this prophecy is referring to the Russians today. That's how you break down the scriptures, referring to different nations and lands and where they are right now. So, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, referring to the Russians, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So the rest of this chapter is referring to, or at least right here, but you can say the whole chapter, is referring to Russia. So verse 3 says, and say, thus saith the Lord, power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, meaning Russia, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Now, what that means is that the Lord is going to put Russia back into that USSR kind of spirit. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, meaning all their tanks and all their military jets and warplanes, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, meaning all of their military weapons, all of their guns, and so on and so forth. And then it says what? Verse 5, it says, Persia. Who is Persia today? Iran. Even Christians know that fact right there. Matter of fact, that's even taught in school. So the Persians, Persia right here in verse 5 is referring to the Iranians, Iran. It says Persia, meaning Iran, Ethiopia, we know who that is, and Libya, we know who that is, with them. All of them with shield and helmet. It says Gomer. Y'all keep reading. Gomer, we know that's Turkey, and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Now, verse 7, still talking about Russia, it says, Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, which are who? Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, Turkey. It says, And all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. You see, and be thou a guard unto them. So ultimately, what's going to actually get World War III started is some kind of conflict between, you can say, Israel and Iran. Israel and Iran, or you can also say America and Iran. And that's ultimately going to cause Russia to step in, according to the scriptures now, because that's what we're talking about. According to the scriptures, Russia is going to be a guard unto Turkey, unto Ethiopia, unto Libya, and ultimately what? It says Persia, which is Iran right here. It's no coincidence that in verse 5, Persia, Iran is the first nation named. You see? So let's go back to the article. Ultimately, we're going to read it one more time before we read a little bit more. It says, Iran's foreign minister, Javad Zarif, alleged on Sunday that Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the UAE, which he dubbed the B team, intend to push Donald Trump into a confrontation with Iran, or aka Persia. And if Israel pushes Trump, meaning America, into a confrontation with Iran, what's going to happen? According to what we just read in the book of Ezekiel, Russia is going to step in and say, look, we're interfering. We're going to be a guard. We're protecting this nation. That's what's going to cause World War III. This is prophecy at its finest. The stage is being set right now. All right. I'm not actually going to read any further. This is how quick and short and simple to the point, this is right here through the Spirit. All we had to read was a title and the subtitle, and that's it. Now check this out. Look at this article. This was also May 1st. Was it? Yeah, this was also May 1st. Same website. It says, why does it keep doing that? Here we go. It says, Iran and U.S. at risk of all-out war over arrogance and religious fanaticism, says expert. U.S. and Iran's arrogance has sparked fears of a fourth Gulf War, a former political professor has claimed. And if that's the case, it's going to break out into a world war. And all these nations are going to ultimately shoot missiles on each other, and then, or some, according to the scriptures, and then ultimately they're going to gang up and they're going to shoot missiles on America, and America will be destroyed in World War III, according to the Bible, and it will never, ever, ever be inhabited again. It says Marwan Bishara, who held a position in international relations at the American University of Paris, says tensions since U.S. President Donald Trump took over have flared up after the country withdrew from a historic nuclear deal with Iran. The nation's falling out was further stressed after a host of sanctions were enforced on the beleaguered Middle Eastern nation. Let's look up that word, beleaguered. Definition. Beleaguered, if I'm pronouncing correctly, definition: to surround with military forces. So let's read it again. To surround with military forces. It says the nation's falling out was further stressed after a host of sanctions were enforced on the beleaguered Middle Eastern nation. Okay, surrounding with military forces. All right, gotta look more into that word. It says Mr. Bishara also contended religious fanaticism was partly to blame for the spike in tensions. So this article basically is just getting into the tensions that's flaring up between Iran and the U.S. right now, which, remember, is prophecy. And I mentioned in my previous video, one of my previous videos that I did last week, concerning the fact that sometimes it seems as if things are tearing because the manifestation of the big events in the scriptures aren't really happening in America right now. We see it happening all over the globe with different uproars and riots of the people, with an economic collapse once again in Venezuela. And then you have earthquakes happening all over the globe as well. But it seems as if things are tearing in America. But if you're not looking into articles like this and staying up to date through the Spirit, you're not going to notice the small things and the chess moves that the Lord is making to make those bigger prophetic events manifest. But with that being said, I'm not going to read any more of this article. If you want to, you can just type this in, take a picture of it, type it in, whatever, and you can read the whole article for yourself and see what's going on concerning the relations with America and Iran. And then you can also look at this article as well. Iran warning, type in that, express.co.uk. But I just wanted to bring that out just so brothers can get, ultimately more edified concerning World War III. And I do pray that it was edifying. And with that being said, I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem L'chakodash, double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.